Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today's awesome guest is Shaina Myers. Shaina is a cellular optimization specialist that focuses on DNA activations and genetic mutations with awareness and active molecular hydrogen. Yes, that is a mouthful. We talk about the healing benefits of a certain kind of water. So let's go and say hello to Shaina. Hey everyone, welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluhide, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you encouragement or an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode. Please also join our awesome Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and I'm looking forward to see you on the inside of that group and hope you enjoy today's show. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hey, Shaina, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too, girl. So for the listeners that don't know you yet, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. So my name is Shaina Myers. I am 33. I am a mother of a little 11-month-old boy. And I am basically a cellular optimization specialist. My goal is to bring awareness to self-love, CELLPH, bringing the awareness of the pH of our cells. Helps us recognize where we're at in our health journey. And so I help people optimize their bodies on a cellular level by figuring out where they're at in their pH, which is the potential of hydrogen, how much hydrogen they have flowing through their body, which molecular active hydrogen is one of the fuels that our body utilizes. So it's the main tool that I help energize help people energize their cells with, so their bodies can get back into a state where they can basically return to origin, whatever that looks like for them.
And how long have you been doing it, and how did you get started with this?
I've been doing it for like almost 8 years, and I started getting into it when I basically found out about I came across my machine. I had a friend who had a machine, and I had ovarian cysts at the time, and I was actually about to go get them like burned off, where they go, that's what they do with cysts. They like burn them so the cancer doesn't spread or whatever. And so I happened to be excited about this water machine. I didn't really know any of the health benefits or anything like that. I just was a water snob. And I realized bottled water just didn't taste very good. So I got this water machine, And then I went in to my doctor like 3 months later to go get the procedure, and they were like, they're gone. Everything's gone. And I was like,
Wow.
what do you mean? What do you mean? And it was like precancerous cells and precancerous ovarian cysts. So I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, they're gone completely. And I was like, oh, weird. Okay. So then I went to my friend and I was like, hey, so this happened and this happened. And I had also lost like probably 8 pounds, without even really trying. I lost like inflammation, and so I went to her and I was like, hey, all these things have been happening. What's going on? She's like, oh, yeah, this is a certified medical device, like da 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 da. And she like introduces me to the science, and I'm just like, what? Okay. And so ever since then, her and I, we basically started a community called Wakewater Co., where we basically wanted to create a safe space where people could be themselves. And we realized that most people were dehydrated and they didn't even know it because they were drinking water that wasn't absorbable. So we started giving sound baths once a week to start building like a network and like just giving them water, and seeing what happens. And over the course of the last 4 years, it's grown to be over like almost 1,500 people globally. And they have like, we have like a website where we basically have business training mentorships. We train people how to, you know, love themselves, going from working a 9 to 5 job to working for themselves, not having someone tell them what to do to not having anyone tell them what to do. So like it's like a consciousness shift to freedom, and we teach them like how to time manage and how to, you know, be their own boss and not like just do nothing with their time. Or because a lot of people were like going from like during COVID, especially, they were going from corporate to working at home and then realizing they really liked that. So, basically we've just helped people step into their health, which then helps them feel better about stepping into their wealth. And it's the main component has been hydrogen. It's been fueling the whole thing, because as long as everyone's body is fueled and they feel good, there's not basically, when the cells are lacking hydrogen and their ionization process, and they're not given the correct water, they start to lose their negative charge, and then the cells have to steal from other cells. They have to take the negative charge from other cells, and then eventually this on the surface, what that looks like is, that those types of energies that are just like, look at me, like I'm they just won't stop talking because they need to be seen and they need to be heard. Like, these are actually people that on a cellular level, they are not hydrated with hydrogen. And if they were to hydrate themselves, they wouldn't be looking outside themselves so much. They would be able to feel what they actually need and then get it through whatever actual chemistry that they're looking for. Like, sometimes people crave chocolate because their body just wants magnesium. And they're like really hard on, oh my God, I can't eat this chocolate because I'm gonna get fat. But it's like, no, your body wants magnesium. You can go get supplements if you want. If you want to get the pills and get magnesium, but your body wants magnesium. That's why it's craving. And the last time it got magnesium was from chocolate. So it'll say chocolate. And so basically, we teach how the body communicates once it's been optimized and brought back to its original state, to where it can communicate without so much inflammation and resistance in the way. So
That is so fascinating. So I want to go back to the whole thing that you had ovarian cysts. Did you ever tell your doctor the only changes that you had made that could have possibly made those cysts go away was the water?
yeah, yeah. But at the time, I had no idea that it could possibly be the water, so I didn't really like make it as big as a deal now. Like that, I now I know it was the water because I've seen so many people reverse so many things with the water. But it's not actually the water. It's the water is only providing a fuel for the body to do what it does naturally. So the company will not make claims, like they literally are like, do not make claims. It is not the water doing anything. It is the body. It is your body. It's just most countries have stripped basically bottled water. There's no minerals. There's not life in the water in bottles. And once you take it from a spring, it's dead 3 days later. So like, what can we do? Like, our forms need living water, and the bottled water, tap water, filtered water, distilled water, reverse osmosis, these are all dead waters. They don't have hydrogen, like life inside of them, like they were fresh from earth, and people don't know this. They don't know that not all water is the same. They think that most people actually avoid drinking water because they notice when they chug it, it just lands in their stomach and they're like, and so they're drinking things with flavor, they're drinking all these other things to get liquids in them when really they just like, their living water provides the form with pure energy. I mean, we even make hydrogen fuel.
The water, instead of just sitting in your stomach, would it absorb all along the way to the stomach? Just like absorb, absorb, absorb?
Well, that's the thing, is water isn't even meant to go to the stomach. It does because it's so heavy and so big in other things. This water, it actually hydrates on a cellular level. The same experience you get when you eat, when you eat like a juicy piece of fruit and it just like goes into the body and you can like feel it hydrating the mouth. It like feels really good. That's because the fruit is H3O2. It's structured living water. It's like a plasma rather than like, when you bite into fruit, it's not like a water flow. It's like a plasma, like a peach or a nectarine or something like that. It's filled with structured living water, and that's what this water is containing. It's H3O2, but it's in a flow. So it's literally water that contains that, like it's called hydrogen gas. It's a gas, but in fruit it shows up as like a plasma. But basically it's also the exact same molecule that when people ground, they walk barefoot outside. It's the molecule that Earth is emitting to create the grounding effect. So it reverses, and it's like anti-aging, anti-inflaming. People like, they feel a lot better when they go outside. It's because the earth is emitting a hydrogen gas. And then also Nikola Tesla took this same exact energy and created electricity towers out of the energy that is coming out of earth.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm familiar with that. And I actually have my foot on a grounding mat right now. My dogs love laying on them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
they know.
Yeah, they know. They're smarter than we are. So, okay, I'm a little bit familiar with the unit you're speaking of, and I have seen some pretty cool things with it. And I also heard that in Japan, when somebody is sick, they give the patient one of these water devices. Are you aware of that?
They give them these these are certified medical devices, and they're in the hospitals in Japan. So they give them this water, and then yes, they have a really good deal to help people get the machines. The company's a private company, so they have even a down payment plan where no credits involved, where it's like put down this small down payment and then make payments, monthly payments, and there's no interest, there's no credit. Like if they miss a payment, it's not going to destroy their credit or something like that. They really are a company. They've spent $0 on marketing. They're not
Mm.
looking to make money. They're looking to help people. And a lot of famous people have these machines, but the company asked them not to talk about it because they would prefer to they make these machines by hand, so they can't be mass manufactured like all the other. There's a bunch of other ionizers that have tried to like compare themselves to this one, but they're all made in the same factory in China. um and they make each one of them by hand. It's intentional machinery. So they don't want to mass market them and have like everybody, gets them. They want to actually help people that talk about it, because they'll pay the people that talk about it. They'll
Well, and
send
you
them
have to
checks.
explain. You have to
Yeah,
explain it more, I believe, because like people just don't know. So why
exactly.
don't you talk about like, okay, so I've heard it does alkali, like it helps your body from an alkaline standpoint. And I've also heard that it um helps from like an antioxidant standpoint. And is there something else it also does?
It microclusters the water, so it makes it actually bioavailable, and also makes it to where the basically a lot of people take supplements, and they take a lot of things and they don't realize, because they're drinking big water, that the supplements are just going into their stomach and they're just peeing them out. So they say Americans in particular have the most expensive urine on the planet because we're just peeing out our supplements. Whereas when you use this water, you can make tea without heating up the water. You can just throw a tea bag in and like it immediately can penetrate through the tea bag, and it can penetrate and create tea without having to, because when you heat up water, what's happening is you're making the water smaller and smaller and smaller. So this machine actually micro clusters the water, so it's already bioavailable. So it's even recommended that if people drink coffee with it, drink less. Like if you are taking supplements with it, just be aware, because it will plow right through it. So the machine also makes a neutral water for those that are taking pills and supplements, because if someone's taking like a time release pill, and they drink it with the 9.5, it'll plow through the time release and they'll just get like blasted with their pill. So the machine has a 7.0 that's like, for the sip that you take the pill, drink the 7.0, because
Oh,
this will be normal with it. And it says on there pills and then formula. So it's also for like baby formula.
oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, it's really cool. There's 3 drinking waters. There's 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5, and these are 3 different sizes. So yes, it does alkalize water. It doesn't alkaline it. Alkaline water is actually a scam. Alkaline in the water world means made by chemicals. Alkalized means made by electricity. So all the alkaline bottled water, you can actually turn them over like Essentia, and it tells you the ingredients, the chemicals that they put in the water to make it alkaline. And so in Essentia, it's like potassium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, which are fine, but that's basically baking soda. They just threw baking soda in it so it'll test alkaline, but it's not like living electric water, which this is alkalized. So it's made with electricity. There's no minerals added or anything like that. It ionizes the water. Um, so, but the different sizes, so 8.5 is the biggest water. So like if someone has a kidney issue, or they have like they're like have cancer and they're not used to detoxing, we give them the 8.5 to start off with, because that's a slower detox. It doesn't like boom, like shoot through their cells and push out everything. Um, so, and then 9.0 is a little bit smaller, and then 9.5 is the smallest. Most people, we do just give the 9.5, because most people, they want to get all the stuff out of them. And then they don't realize that we're taking in EMFs and, free radicals. We're taking things in all the time, through the wires, the phones, the computers, the everything, which there's nothing wrong with those. But active molecular hydrogen, free radicals, and all those EMFs, they come into our body and they steal the negative charge from our cells. And that's why by the end of the day, we're like, we're feeling really bogged down and stuff like that. Whereas with hydrogen water, you're like this all day, because active molecular hydrogen is actually, it'll take any free radical or any EMF molecule that enters the body, and it'll turn it into water. It'll just,
Oh,
yeah.
so
So,
that's how your cyst went away, I'm assuming.
It turns it into water. And so I did notice I was peeing a lot. I was peeing all the time. I was like, oh man, this water's pretty nuts. Like, why am I peeing so much? Whew. And it slowly turned those aspects, the areas of my body that needed to be alkalized, into water. And I also learned through experience of we helped my really good friend's dad heal from cancer. He had like stage 4 leukemia all of a sudden. And basically, uh, molecular hydrogen is also a cytotoxin killer. So chemo creates cytotoxins, which cytotoxins do kill cancer, but they also kill the immune system. So most people that do chemo, they end up dying from the chemo, because like they leave the hospital and literally someone sneezes on them and their immune system's gone, and they get sick and then they end up dying. So basically, what we learned is um, active molecular hydrogen actually destroys cytotoxins. So if someone is drinking the water, they can actually drink the water, which will start, going after the cancer cells. But if they're at a place where they need chemo, or they need to like get rid of a lot at one time, then they get on the water, do the chemo, and then the water actually creates an environment where the cytotoxins only do what we want them to do, which is kill the cancer. And then the water comes in and kills the cytotoxins before they can come after the immune system. And so the person is able to leave the hospital with their immune system intact, but the cancer gone. And then also for cancers that are not as far along, or autoimmune, a lot of people, they just don't recognize that it's the microbiome. Their microbiome is the #1 brain. So once they heal that, then the gut can start communicating to the brain correctly again. And they can start listening to their bodies, and it actually kind of makes sense. Whereas a lot of people, when they need nitrogen, their mind thinks pasta, when like they could get it from going outside and breathing. you know they could go do some breath work like outside, but they're not taught that. They're just taught to, oh, pasta is the last time I had nitrogen, so I'm just going to eat a bunch of pasta. And then they're like, oh, I'm so why did I eat so much, and they don't even know why they feel that way. And it's just because they're not aware of the different refined ways of taking in active hydrogen, which Earth is creating through natural substances all around them. And so these machines are just like, because most people have not been outside, they have not been, you know, being barefoot their whole lives. They have not been like they're just not aware of how powerful nature is. So those that are working in the city and they don't have the ability to go to the spring and go get living water, because if someone has living water in the spring next to them, I go for it. I'm not here to be like that. But those of us that are in a city and got stuck drinking bottled water and we're creating all these plastic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
trash, like this machine, it changed my life. I haven't, needed to buy a plastic water bottle in years. I haven't contributed to that. Um, and then on top of it, it actually makes 3 other waters that are like life changing. One of them is 2.5. It's the pH of 2.5. It's a complete disinfectant. This is actually also in all the hospitals that know about these machines, is they disinfect medical equipment with it. They just throw it in there and it disinfects. So it's really great for uh I replaced all my cleaning products with it. So it's water. You can literally drink it. I mean, not, you don't want to drink like mass amounts of it, but you can. So, like, for me, I have an 11-month-old son. He's very curious. So, and I always knew I was going to have kids. So I love that I have a cleaner in my cupboard that if he were to happen to get into and spill and put in his mouth or whatever, it's water. But it actually it is formulated through the machine to create the properties of being able to disinfect. It's about 99% of bacteria.
Wow.
So it's proven. These machines have been around for a really long time. They're certified, multiple certifications. Um, and then it also creates an 11.5, which is an oil emulsifier. So not only is it able to help clean like the stovetop, you just like spray a little on there, let it soak, it like emulsifies the oils, that can get left over. It's great for it also removes pesticides, because pesticides are
Oh.
actually oil based. So
Oh.
when people are washing their fruits and vegetables with just water, all they're doing is adding all the chemicals from their tap, which most cities have about like 10 to 30 chemicals that we don't need coming through the tap water and coming through their showers. And they're wondering why their hair is thinning, why things are going wrong, because they're not hydrated and they're getting plowed with chemicals. Every 15-minute shower is like 1 to 5 liters of chemicals that their body has to process, go through their kidneys, their liver, and then they wonder why so many of us in America have health issues.
Oh
So
gosh, it's awful.
yeah.
And they have the chlorine and stuff, so
Mhm.
the fluoride and oh my goodness, all of that
And
garbage.
they've even found microplastics now. So like even for in other countries, they don't need pre-filters for these machines, but here there's so much in the water. I actually found a company that I got a pre-filter for this one for my city because it also filters out microplastics. So so mine, it's like tap water and it just pre-filters pre-filters out anything that's not good for you. It leaves like magnesium, calcium, whatever minerals are in it. And then puts it through the ionization process through the machine, which then puts it into two, like it'll inside the machine, what's happening to the H2O that's going in is it splits it apart into negative OH and positive OH. which are hydroxyl ions, and basically it spits the positively charged ions out the bottom of the machine, and then it pushes the negatively charged ions together, and oxygen and hydrogen, they combine naturally, to like make H2O. But because they're negatively charged, the way they connect is they structure themselves and create like a perfect, when they look at like a water drop and it's like a perfect snowflake looking thing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they create that rather than like a bleh. When you look at tap water under the microscope, it literally looks like a blob. There's no
Mm.
structure to it. It doesn't look like a snowflake. It doesn't look pretty. It looks like, you know, and then Dr. Masaru Emoto proved that you can put intention in water. So you can actually, say like it holds memory, basically. And they proved this with putting rice in water in 3 different cups, and then had children go through, because they'd go to school every day, and they'd say, I love you to one of them, I hate you to another, and then they'd completely neglect the third. And the one that they said, I love you to, fermented beautifully, created like a beautiful, like, like the rice alcohol or whatever. The one that they said I hate you to, rotted, it turned brown, it, didn't ferment at all. And then the one that they neglected actually black, like turned completely black, was even worse than being emotionally abused, was actually neglected. And this is online, like you can check out all the different, they've done it to plants, they've done it to all these different experiments where they basically have proven what words and intention can do to the waters of our bodies, to the water that we're drinking. And on a cellular level, we're 99% water. So it's actually the waters of our body that are responding to things, which is why people say that water represents our emotions.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe that's why affirmations work, is because
Mm-hmm.
we're primary water. So if we look in the mirror and tell ourselves something, then it's leaving that imprint on ourselves.
Exactly, exactly. And this water is more, basically, it's more susceptible to carry that intention on its own. It literally, without even us thinking about it, it has the ability to give energy. It is just giving energy, whereas all other waters, when we get rid of them, there's always a give and take in nature. When we drink dead water, it takes minerals on the way out. It
Hmm.
has to. Whereas this water, it gives on the way out. It gives us energy, and then it takes the crap.
Wow, that's awesome.
So,
Tell me some
yeah.
more stories that you've heard. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure you've
Hmm.
seen a lot of really cool stories. Like, I have a really good friend who has this type of lymphoma, and the doctor said, oh, there's nothing we can do. We can't help you. And, you know, and so she's just
Yeah.
living with it. And, but I just am curious to hear like different stories of people that you know who
Hmm.
started drinking the water and their body started doing the things it's supposed to do.
Yeah. So one was my dad. My dad actually had diverticulitis. He had 10 polyps and had to get, like, 3 different times he got a couple inches of his intestines removed, because basically that's diverticulitis, is when your intestines turn all black because you're only eating processed food, and you don't have, he eats like no vegetables, or he used to not eat any vegetables. So like vegetables and greens give the body the enzymes to digest the food. And because most people are eating processed food that's covered in pesticides, pesticides have been eating away at our microbiomes on the inside, and eating away, because they're genetically modified. So they're eating away at anything that's not genetically modified. So a lot of people, their microbiomes have basically started to leak, and they get something called leaky gut, which then their gut stuff starts leaking all over their bodies. And then they get things like acne places, they get things like psoriasis, eczema, they have mucus flowing in places that it's not meant to flow. So my dad had diverticulitis, and I was just like, I didn't know how to get through to him. I was just like, he has an older generation view of food is just food. I'm just gonna eat it. So I was like, hey, can you just do me a favor and get this machine? Because like I would like you to be alive whenever I have children. And this was like 4 years ago. And my brother was like, yeah, I got mine too. Like, I love it. Can you just please? We love you so much. And he was like, okay. So we got his machine because of our love. He had no idea like what it was going to do to him. He had no idea what was going on. And he didn't change his food. He eats Olive Garden, McDonald's, um, Stouffer's lasagnas, which, I'm not saying those are terrible for you, but if your body doesn't have the enzymes or the energy to process it, it ends up, staying in the body and becoming dis-ease and like not working correctly. And so, a year later, he goes to his, he didn't even realize like it stopped feeling bad. But he goes to his, yearly checkup, and the doctor was like, you don't have it. All your polyps are gone. What happened? What's going on? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, I've been drinking this water, and he still says the same thing. He's like, I don't know, I've been drinking this water, but he is one of the only people besides my mom, his age that I knew that didn't get COVID because they both have the water. And he was around it all the time, and but basically it's an active warrior inside the body at all times that's like ready and willing to fight off anything. And that's what water's supposed to be like. The way Earth creates it, it's like that. It's only because we've, as a species, have had to mass market water and put it in bottles and all that stuff. We didn't know that that kills it.
That's
It strips
interesting.
it of its life. So
Yeah, I mean, bottled water is so bad. I mean, I've known that for a long time. Unfortunately, I haven't always known that, but yeah, and you don't even know how long it's been sitting in those bottles. It could be years. This
yeah, the
is
Fiji and the Evian, they come all the way from France. So they actually get shipped over here before they're even in stores. They're in the bottle for like 6 months. And Evian spelled backwards is naive. Now they just literally, if you look at the Evian bottles, it's just naive. They spell the Evian backwards, and so it's Naive, and I'm just like, you guys, come on, come on, this is not fair anymore. Like, I know people are naive; they just don't know. They don't know what they don't know, and so not all water is the same.
And our government doesn't want us to know because they want us to be sick because it's a profit center. And
Yeah,
I mean, we've learned if people haven't learned that in the last 2 years, then they
yeah,
haven't been paying attention.
yeah.
So awesome. So where can people learn more about this amazing machine?
There's a lot of they can research Kangen water testimonials. There is the scientific term that I recommend researching is electrolyzed reduced water. That is the like patented scientific term behind this water that they've created to like make it a medical device or whatever. And so that's like the most science research. When they type in that term, electrolyzed reduced water, they'll come up with the most like science and all the scientific research that's been done all over the world on it. Whereas if they want like testimonials, they can literally type in on YouTube Kangen water, then the disease that they're looking for, and I guarantee it's on there. There is someone that has healed themselves from that disease because it's not the water doing it. The water is literally just fueling the body from and allowing it to put itself back into its original state. In fact, Kangen in Japanese means return to origin. So Kangen water is literally, they're just like, hey, this is what water should be like. This is nothing special. We can't even believe that, your countries are allowing you to drink water like this, because the Japanese are the longest living people on the planet. And this machine is specifically from Okinawa, which they are the longest living people on the planet. So that's where the machines are made, is in Okinawa.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And if they wanted to get more information from you, where are you located? Where's your little community you were mentioning?
So we're we were like created in Orange County. But we are pretty much all over. So if anyone wants to try the water, they can email me alignedbydesign54@gmail.com, and I can find them their closest machine where they can start, because that's our goal. We're not here to be like, you better buy a machine. Like, no, we literally want people to know that we are 75% water. So if you're drinking shitty water, your life is at least 75% shitty, and you don't even know. It can be so much better. You can feel better. You're allowed to feel better. And we just weren't taught. I mean, I'm not religious, but I have read the Bible. Jesus calls himself the living waters, and the living water is mentioned in the Bible over 700 times. It is important to have life in our water. And just like a rose, when you pick it, it dies. So does water when you take it from its source. So basically what this machine did was, this healing water is what they call it. It's all over the world. Actually, there's multiple earth created fountains. There's Chicotle, Mexico, Lourdes, France, Normandau, Germany. The Lourdes, France one is the one at the Vatican. So people travel all over the world to go to that, the miracle waters, the fountain of youth right outside the Vatican. So what they did is they went deep under the ground and saw and figured out what the earth was doing to that water. And so that's what these machines are doing, is there's 8 platinum coated titanium plates inside that are representing the tectonic plates, and then the water is going over them, and the electricity is shocking the plates, which is what's happening in the core of the earth. Is electricity is shocking the tectonic plates, and then when water moves over it, it goes into the springs and into the world and into all that. And so this machine is like doing that on like a little tiny scale, and it's creating living water that earth makes in different sizes.
Wow, without all the extra crap that your city's
Exactly.
putting in it. That is beautiful. I love it.
And the upkeep for a family of 4 is a filter replacement every year, which the filter sale is June and in December, which they're $110. And then if it's not on sale, it's $130. So that's about once a year for a family of 4. And then there's like a deep cleaning, and it cleans itself, but there's a cleaning that we like to do to it like once every 3 months. And it takes like it does it itself. You just like put certain things in, and it cleans it through. Yeah. So it's a really cool. The first machine was made 38 years ago. It's still working.
Whoa, 38 years ago.
Yeah, so people have had their machines for 15, 20, 10 years. I've had mine for 7 years. Um, and it's really cool because MIT engineers have even studied it. There's no moving parts on the inside, so the only way it can actually break is if you literally like, oh, I dropped it. I don't, and so it's a really cool machine, and
Yeah, that's a long time.
yeah, I really want everyone to experience like what it feels like to feel good, because I feel like a lot of people are in that misery loves company state, and like they're just expected to feel bad all the time. And when anyone has like a little bit of passion, someone's like, whoa, you're too much. And it's like, no, you just literally don't have the energy to handle it. You don't have the energy to handle someone with passion, because the chemistry in their forms is like, it's filled with dead water. So it doesn't have a response ability. It literally is like,
You know,
I
it'd be
can't handle it
interesting.
anymore.
I have
Hmm.
seen people, I've had a lot of experts on different topics come on the show, and I've seen where they draw blood from somebody who's pretty unhealthy and the blood moves under the microscope like super sluggish. It's like chunky and just, it looks horrible. And then they find like a vitalized, like a really healthy person and their blood's just flowing. I would
Hmm.
love to see how the water affects somebody's blood flow too.
They already have it actually under a microscope, and it actually within 10 minutes turns every rouleau. Is basically when blood cells clump together like that, they're called rouleaus, and it's because they don't have the energy. It's on YouTube. It's called live blood analysis with Kangen water. And it literally, a person, they test their blood and they're in a bunch of rouleaus, then they take a couple sips of this water, wait 10 minutes, test their blood again. The blood cells are like this.
Wow.
They're
You know what
all
I bet?
moving.
I bet that that would help people. You know, heart disease is the number one killer of both men and women. I bet
Hmm.
you that would help a lot.
Yeah. My grandma, she no longer had to be on her Tylenol medication for her arthritis. Most friends, grandparents that had heart issues, they they stopped, all of a sudden their bodies just stopped needing their medication, and they're like, they don't even realize what happened. And then they go to their doctors, and their doctors are like, everything's working out, but this is weird. What can I medicate you with? And a lot of doctors get confused, and some of them even get upset. They're like, wait a minute, you didn't ask. Like, and because they're programmed, a lot of doctors, with big pharma, which is like, this is how we solve,
Right.
this is the only way. And what they don't realize is pharma pharmakeia, the word pharmakeia in Greek actually means black magic. So it goes like deep. Pharmaceuticals is a form of like, yes, they can be good. I'm not here to say they're all bad. But the whole thing that they've taken over people, it's pretty, you know, programming. That they
Mm-hmm.
need their pills, when like, hey, if this was working, you wouldn't need to come back for it every month.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. And somebody said to me, because I lecture people about this stuff all the time, and somebody goes, well, you're not an MD, Tracy. I said, you're right. And who are the MDs trained by? Who teaches them? I'm not saying MDs are bad. I'm just saying that
hmm,
they, like you said, they are taught by pharmaceutical companies whose
hmm,
only agenda, that's why it's called medical school, so that they can give people medicine instead of
yeah.
teaching people how to live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah, my mom, she's literally a nurse practitioner, and she can prescribe medication. And she didn't even know I used to get strep throat all the time. She would just prescribe me antibiotics, and I would get it again within 2 years, because who knew that not only antibiotics destroy, yes, they kill the infection, but they kill everything that protects you too. So your body loses the immune system, and it's like 8 to 10 times more likely that you're going to get it again. And when I learned this and I told my mom was like, oh shit, I didn't know. And I was like, well, hey, how many hours did you do of nutrition in like 10 years? She was like, one class. I was like, one class on nutrition? Okay, that's fine. I didn't judge, but it was like, okay, so she doesn't know a lot about utilizing earth and natural things as medicine. So I went down like a whole different journey, and I still love like Western medicine. I love that a lot of the things derive from things that are from the earth. Um, it's just the addiction to them and the programming that this is what's helping you, when you wouldn't get dependent on it if it was helping you. I've seen things actually help people, and when things are actually helping people, eventually they no longer need them. So it just didn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense at all. I think it's just ridiculous, and people just believe everything their doctor says, but it's okay. I feel like the tides are shifting and people are becoming more aware of all these things. And this water is just phenomenal. I'm really excited to get my own machine and, help my family be healthier. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, Shaina, for coming on. I'm super excited.
absolutely. Yeah, and also the company they ask basically that you go to somebody that has a machine, and that's how you get your machine, and that person sends you a link, and then you're able to invest from there, because the company wants to honor who shared the information, basically, and then also who the people connect with. So it's a really beautiful process, and the company is called Enagic, which is energy and magic combined as one word, So it's just beautiful. All of our energy is magic, and we deserve to be able to flow freely and not be dependent on, getting mineral resources from anything but delicious foods. We don't need to be like, oh my God, I need all this extra stuff. Like, we really don't. Less is more. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, that was super fun. For complete show notes, please head on over to highenergygirl.com/show, where you will find links to look a little deeper into this special type of water to help your body heal itself. Thank you for listening. Please go out and make it a super day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.